Hello, and welcome to Rallying the Forge. I'm your host, Sol. Hello, and welcome to another episode of Rallying the Forge. I'm Solimer, and today I'm going to introduce new mechanics Augment and Blast. SBE put out an article and released some new cards from set 4 regarding the mechanics. We're going to run through it. I'm not going to read the whole article. I will link it in the video description so you can go and read it yourself. I will touch on some key points they do put out, though. And we'll look at these cards and compare them or see what we can do with them based on what we know right now. So this week they released the 2 new mechanics to introduce them to everybody. Augment is the first one here. And they say, augments are creatures and spells that attach to another creature, granting them new abilities. Unlike exalts, augments go to the banish pile when the creature they're attached to is destroyed. So they are an enchantment for creatures, essentially, or equivalent to equipment. And you can have unlimited augments on your creatures. As many as you play, you can put on them. They do different things depending on what faction it's coming from. They did try to have the factions have different ways of getting augments or playing augments or how they affect the creatures, etc. So we'll show the first card here, Veilbyte. This is an Alolan creature that turns into an augment, essentially. And I look at this as like, this is the Alolan version of Charger Mammoth. It's the first thing I thought of right away. It's basically the same thing as Charger Mammoth, except that if the creature is a proper level for it, as it states in its text, which we'll read through in a minute, then it gets attached to it and keeps its abilities. So Charger Mammoth gives aggressive and breakthrough for that turn to the creature that replaced it. In this case, if the augment gets attached, they keep stealth. They get the stats just like Charger Mammoth no matter what, but it's not just a one-turn stealth. They get it permanently, or they don't get it at all. So Veilbyte, you can see the level 1 of 4/3. It goes to a 7/5, and then a 9/7. So on its own, it's not terrible. It is a stealth creature, mind you, so the stats are not going to be crazy. But when you replace it, those stats go to whatever creature replaced it. So you might be able to get some value out of it just playing it if you're on Forge, getting the stealth damage through if they don't have aggressive creatures or anything in that lane. And then the next turn, you could replace it. Granted, your guy would then go to the back row because they don't have aggressive on it, unlike Charger Mammoth. But you could do something like that to get some extra value out of it, depending on, the board state and whatnot. But it's definitely nice that Alolan gets a replacement mechanic, so this will work. We know for set 4, there's no duplicate cards from the prior sets. They're all brand new, every single one of them. So like a Pokemancer and Drix, for example, you'd have to use Betrayer versions of them to put this kind of mechanic to work with those types of cards. And who knows what else is going to be in this set for decks like that. I don't know if that's going to be a thing still for Alolan or not. We don't know if they're going to have a lot of gizmo production or anything of that nature. So, but they do have this card, and it's pretty neat. It's a common, so should see this plenty. It's a robot, so there's hope that they're going to have more synergistic things for Alolan. It's one of the factions that really doesn't have a good tribal type of deck, I guess. They do have mages or scientists, kind of, but they just don't have anything of their own that's really strong anyway. I mean, they do have some robot stuff, maybe warrior stuff, but it's not strong enough currently. So hopefully this new set will have some more synergistic stuff to start having Aloyn be able to do some stuff with that. I don't know. But it is a robot. It's a stealth creature. Pretty neat. I like it. Yeah, so there's, like I said, you could use it, try to take advantage of it, and then replace it when you're off Forge again, potentially. Or if you put an aggressive creature down, then it gets aggressive, and it'll have stealth. Granted, then they can block it if they're going to be on Forge. Or you play it, and then you replace it when you're on Forge, and your guy has stealth, and he can really bust through with some major damage, getting the +9, 7, or 4 attack. So lots of ways to use it. We'll have to see what the best way ends up being for it once we know what else is in the set. So they talk about Veilbyte here. They said they were inspired by effects like Charger Mammoth and Gizmo. So that was the inspiration for things like Augment, I guess. Or at least with replacing a creature. They limited this replacement interaction to the Aloyn faction, ensuring that each faction had distinct augment mechanics. And then the next augment we see is Burning Lance. And this one's really cool. Give one of your creatures +5 attack if it's level 1, or attach it if it's level 1. Give one of your creatures +7 and attach if it's a level 1 or 2. And then the level 3 is one of your creatures gets +10 attack, then attach it to one of your creatures. Doesn't have to be the same creature. So you can give somebody plus attack and attach it to something else, which is useful. Or you can put on the same card. The Augment gives Breakthrough, which is really awesome. My first thought of this was, this is going to be awesome with Swamp Moss Lurker. So Swamp Moss Lurker, of course, the level 3 gets attack equal to your health when it's played. So most of those decks are life gain type decks. So they have lots of health. The idea is by the time you get to cycle 3, you've built up a good chunk of health, or you're still hovering around at least 50. You drop down this 50-14 Swamp Moss Lurker, and they've got to answer, but they can chump block it because it doesn't have Breakthrough. So this would be awesome. Granted, Tempest is not a life gain typical pairing for that, but maybe depending on what's in the set, maybe the augments or other things that are going to be in Tempest are going to be worthwhile pairing with it. I don't know. But that was my first thought. May not be the best pairing, but that was my instant thought. Like, there we go. Give something Breakthrough and pump it up even more. Or pump something else up and give something else Breakthrough. Lots of instances where Breakthrough is helpful. Some of the strongest decks you see have a lot of Breakthrough type creatures that can give you difficulty because the damage is going to go through. You can't throw a low level, low health creature up against it and expect to block any of the damage. So this is definitely a cool augment in my opinion. I really do like it. So Breakthrough, that's a win condition type card. If you have, if you can get it at the right time when you need something to break through, that can win a match for you. So it's also a common card, so that's really cool. I don't know if they say anything about it. So then they talk about a card that they kind of made with that in thought, or in they had this card in mind when they were making cards like that. So you have Kaz Arcweaver, who's a rare creature for Tempest. He's a 2/7, 3/10, and 5/14. But that's not the whole story. It's not just you got to pump him up. But when you do attach augments to him, he gets bonus attack. And then, so he, on level 1, is just himself. Level 2 is him and adjacent creatures. And level 3 is all of your creatures. So there's been cards in previous sets that had this similar type mechanic where it's one creature, that creature and adjacent, or maybe 2 creatures and then all creatures. So this builds on that type of mechanic. He's aggressive, so you could throw, what is it called? Burning Lance. Sorry, don't have all the names memorized yet. Burning Lance on Kaz Arcweaver on the level 3. He would get plus 10 attack. If you put the augment on him, he gets another 7. That puts him already up to 22 attack with breakthrough on just one turn. So that's pretty awesome. And then it also gives all your other creatures plus 7 in addition to him, right? So he's a 22/14 breakthrough that they now have to answer for. This could be really awesome off Forge with him being aggressive. If they know that you have that stuff in your deck, if they've looked at your deck list, or watched you play the card, leveling it up, paid attention, I guess. Yeah, that can be really dangerous. 22/14 breakthrough, just like that. If they don't account for him, they're just like, it's 5 damage aggressive, I'll let that go. That can be game-changing. They have to address that after you play him, and they've already played one card. They only have one action left at that point. So that's going to be pretty interesting. Definitely like this card. I don't know how many cards they're going to have in the sets that are like this. I imagine each faction will have a guy that has some sort of payoff. That'll be interesting to see what they have for each faction and how strong these abilities are. I really like this card. And knowing that there's going to be more augments in Tempest that are pumping with attack, and they probably are spells, gives you lots of options. I don't know if other augments are going to give breakthrough like this one does, but we'll find out what else is going to be there. It's going to be really interesting. I really like this card, though. It is a rare, so that's cool. But and he's a warrior mage as well, so there could be some synergies from other things that could potentially help this as well. But I really like the card, so that's really cool, showing how augments, a different way for augments to work, I guess. The next thing is Blast. They say it's the second major keyword for Shadows over Solus. It's a mechanic designed for aggressive, tempo-driven gameplay. With the current meta favoring control-oriented decks, we want to introduce a keyword that encourages proactive strategies. It's interesting. So Blast there's been a lot of other cards released this week that we're not covering in this video. We will do it on our next video once they've all been put out by the other content creators. We will recap those, but they have a lot of Blast and augments in them as well. They might actually have one of each. Not positive on that, but there's been a bunch of new cards released there as well. So Blast, though, has been a highly talked about mechanic. People are very intrigued with it. So it says how Blast works is it allows a creature to deal a set amount of damage to a lane. If the lane is empty, all of the damage goes to the enemy player. If there's an enemy creature in the lane, Blast deals damage to the creature first, and any excess damage then spills over to the enemy player. So it says by default, blast targets the opposing lane, but some abilities allow it to hit other lanes as well. So it kind of has like a breakthrough mechanic with it, which is really neat. Okay, so Stormstrike here is a spell in Tempest. Play a spell sprite minion at level 1. Or each of your minions blast 2. The level 2 is play 2 spell sprite minions. Each of your minions blast 3. And then the level 3 is play up to 3 spell sprite minions. Each of your minions blast 5. So this card in particular obviously looks like, hey, it's going to work well with minions focused decks where you've got 5 minions on the board and boom, they all blast 5. I do not like that the level 3 is playing 3 spell sprite minions. That's really weak at level 3 with them just having 4 health. It would have been nice if these were not the sprites. But the blast 5 at level 3 is really nice. And depending on what other cards can blast and how what other blast stuff goes on. I mean, if you were pumping minions up and had a bunch on the board, let's say you had all 5 lanes with minions, and you're blasting for 5, like, you're probably opening up some lanes. If you have any breakthrough creatures, if you have any Oak Fathers on the board, essentially, that's going to only help them get some more damage through. So this is definitely a strong ability. I would have rather seen Spell Swarm minions at level 3, but maybe that's too powerful. But at the same time, like, they're 3/9s. They get the blast for 5, and if you play another spell after that, then they could go up to 6s. I don't think it's too strong. I don't know. Spell Sprite minions, though, feels really weak to me. But it's a common card, so maybe they didn't want it to be too strong. I'm not positive. I'm not sure. But definitely, I was making some minion decks not too long. Well, it's been a while, I guess. Been months now, I guess. I tried to find what decks could I combine to make some good just minion-style pump decks. And I had 2 Aloyan, 2 Necrium, and 2 Terra that all seemed really strong, so I didn't know how to do it. So I combined all the ways you can combine them. I had like 12 decks at the end of it. I didn't have a single Tempest one. But this kind of card can really help Tempest for getting that minion generation. And it comes with the cool blast effect on it. So maybe that's something that gets revisited and look to find a Tempest deck with a lot of good minion generation. That would be nice. That's probably, in my opinion, that faction was the weakest of the 3 for minion generation. But yeah, neat card. Not my favorite, just because I don't like the level 3. I think it's too weak. The blast 5 is okay, but the 3 spell sprite minions, they're just gonna die. So if they don't kill whatever's across from the blast, they're not gonna do much. What I wanted to compare it to was, it's like a weaker version. If you have 5 minions across the board, it's kind of a weaker version of Firestorm, but only on your opponent. With the 2, 3, and 5. So it is kind of comparable to that. And then we have the last spoil card, is Snofir. I tried to see if that was like a name spelt backwards. I don't know what Riffons would be. I don't know if that's... I have no idea. So it just looks like a name that would be spelt backwards. But Snofir is a defender, Yeti, Tempest. And at the end of turn, this blasts for 3, 5, and 10 at 1, 2, and 3. It's a common card. It has 0 attack at all 3 levels, 10, 14, and 32 health. So this card is kind of nice as a big-bodied defender that blasts every turn. So they compare it to Specimen. I think it's a fair comparison. You know, Specimens currently, if you don't take any damage when they're on, they get to do some damage based on, I don't know if it's their health. I think it's their health, maybe. Well, it's like 1, 5, and then based on their health at level 3 can get really big. But this one always goes off, and the odds of them just one-shotting it on the level that it is not great. Probably going to take 2 attacks to kill it off. You know, this can be played, and then if they put a stealth creature across from it, it's going to keep hitting that stealth creature until it kills it. So it is, you know, you'll still take the damage from the stealth creature, but depending on what it has for stats, this might be able to just wipe it off the board and real quick, and you just took 1 turn of it and got to kill it. So yeah, so that's Snofir. I don't know of other uses for him yet. I haven't really thought about different things you might be able to do with him that'd be neat yet. We'll have to see when we see more cards what kind of things we can do with him that'll be fun. But I think it's nice to have a big body that you can just throw down and take care of. Like normally defenders, I feel like these are higher than normal health totals for defender creatures. Doesn't have any attack though, but he has blasting, so I'm not sure. Obviously, you could pump him up and make him stronger, but yeah, it's definitely an interesting card, interesting space. So I don't think it's a bad card. I think it's just interesting. We need to see what it can do. You know, if there's going to be things like Torgmai Guardians that get buffs when you play creatures in the back row, is that going to be something where there's a lot of defender-type creatures that you can use with that kind of card to help make a deck revolved around that, where he's going to get huge from that. So we'll see how it goes. The last card to spoil was put in chat at some point by someone from SBE, and we have the Vicious Strider. So it's a Strider, and then it has the Vicious modifier, comparable to people are feeling like charge-plated, essentially. I do believe they put out the stats of what Vicious Strider was. I didn't bother to look him up for his base stats to figure out exactly how it modified him. But you can see, and I don't know if the Strider has stealth. I'm guessing the Strider has stealth and Vicious is not giving stealth, but maybe it is. Not positive on that. It's a zombie warrior, but you can see how Vicious, this is kind of a cool card because it's stealth. Good attack at level 1, obviously horrible health. Horrible health at level 2, but decent, this is like Portal Shade with the stealth and the attack, and then at level 3, he just goes off, and now he's a 26-21 stealth. That's awesome. The other little drop that we got from the Vicious thing was there's a Vicious creature, unknown at this time, that can one-shot Krogaius, apparently. So it's much bigger than Krogaius. I don't think he gave out the stats on that, but my guess is it's probably between 30 and 40 for health and attack. So that's my guess. So when we get that information, we will definitely share that as well. That'll be interesting to see, the Krogaius killer. So these are the cards we got, the 5 that I'm covering today. We have 6 or 8 other cards that I'm going to do a video on, and I will release. I will make and then release it once the last. I think there's 2 more to release that I haven't seen yet. I think 6 have been released so far. I think there's 8 total. So when those get released, I'll put another video together of those 8, and we'll go through those. So this will probably be... There'll probably be multiple videos a week, depending on what Stoneblade's releasing, and then what other content creators are releasing, trying to get the files from them. They are posting everything in the spoilers chat in the SBE Discord, so you can find them there if you want to see other ones, or I have videos that you can look at. I've got some other cool things to put together for some of these videos as I get the images or whatnot. So looking forward to spoiling more cards. We have a couple more weeks of all this. We have all through the end of the month, beginning of March. And I don't know how much farther it'll go before set 4 will be here. So my anticipation is hopefully middle of next month, latest probably end of March. To me, that would be late based on all this being released at this time. So really looking forward to set 4. It will be a digital release first, and then eventually, don't know how much longer after all that, it's going to go to physical print. So that's what I'm mostly looking forward to. I have a little nest egg saved up for that, and I will be buying some digital stuff as well. So we can go through cards and new cards and see what else there is, things that weren't released as a spoiler. They have over 5,500 cards, so there's going to be a lot of new cards to cover, a lot of new things to go through and see what kind of combinations are showing up in these decks. Going to be a lot of stuff to go over, so definitely going to have a lot of videos coming out, probably multiple per week, at least with the spoilers, probably at least 2 a week, and then other content videos are going to be coming out once the set's released. We'll be doing deck openings, making decks. There's going to be just lots of stuff to do. Also going to be streaming stuff. Any events that are going on, I'm going to try and stream them. So look forward to all of that, and I appreciate everyone who watches any of the videos, anyone who likes, comments, or subscribes. I appreciate all that you guys do for me in that regard. But I put this all out there for you guys, so I hope you do enjoy the content. If you do like the content, please give it a like. The more likes that I get on things, then I know that people like that stuff. I'm trying to do a variety of content, trying to have some different things, so it's not always just the same thing. But right now, we're going to be heavy into set 4 spoilers, and then it'll be set 4 related things once it's released, whether it's deck building, looking at opening decks, etc. I'm going to have in there, I'll be having, obviously, the Flames of the Forge series with me having matches against other people, whether it's from events or if it's random matches, or like when I did my SFG challenge match against Crimson Caravan. Going to have stuff like that out there. The box openings is going to be on hold until set 4 goes physical, and then I will have plenty of that to go through with people. Videos and streaming for that. And then there's going to be, we'll see what other content we can do. I'll still do some educational stuff as more things get released, whether, third-party type things that are outside of the game, or when they add stuff in the client, we will definitely be reviewing that when there's enough changes or big enough changes that we want to discuss that type of stuff. So, as always, if there's something you guys want to see or want to know about, that whatever it is, if you just have a question, put a comment in. I don't get that many comments, so I read them all. And if you have an idea for a video, I will see if I can do it. I put this stuff out for you guys. So yeah, that's enough of my me and my soapbox. But I really do appreciate each and every one of you who watched this and have watched any of my videos. So thank you, and I will see you guys next time. I hope you enjoyed these spoilers. We'll look forward to a bunch more coming in a few days or at the end of this weekend probably. So see you guys then. Take care. See you around. This has been an episode of Rallying the Forge. Thank you, and we'll see you next time.